Hey there, Willowbrook, and thanks so much for doing our daily Devo today. We are in John chapter 21, verses 15 through 19. This is an incredibly tender story we find in Scripture, one where we can look at the character of God, but knowing that who God is in Scripture is who God is now. We can look at the way that Jesus interacts with his friends and his close disciples, and acknowledge that as followers of Jesus, we are his friends, we are his close disciples, and he interacts with us the same way. The part of the story we find ourselves in is after Jesus has gone to the cross. He's been resurrected from the dead, but before Jesus went to the cross, his close friend and disciple, Peter, denies Jesus 3 times. And Peter is devastated. He feels shame and sorrow that he would betray his friend that way. His master, his rabbi, this one that he has given his life to, he's let him down. And Peter is absolutely crushed. So when Jesus comes toward Peter, even in his failings, Jesus does not come to him with condemnation. His first question is not, Peter, why did you fail me? Peter, why did you betray me? In fact, Jesus' first question to Peter is, Peter, do you love me? And then in the same way that Peter failed Jesus, Jesus affirms his love for Peter. In fact, he gives them 3 opportunities to say, you know what, I love you, Jesus. And we see here that with Jesus, it's restoration over rejection. And I think a lot of us struggle with that. There's areas in our own lives where we have messed up. Sometimes it's in ways that feel devastating, like Peter. Sometimes it's in what feels like maybe less significant ways that may not be absolutely devastating our lives, but they're still disappointing. And I think it's important that we give a little bit of thought to the voice that we hear in our head. It's what's sometimes called our inner critic. The tone of voice that we hear in our head often can mirror the tone of voice we think that God has for us when we mess up. A lot of times what we hear when we think disappointment or shame is not the way that God speaks to his kids at all. In fact, the way that God speaks to his kids is loving. And as he's bringing restoration back, it's not with rejection, it's with coming near, pursuing us, just as he pursues Peter here. And he's also inviting him to not just experience Jesus' love, but also to reciprocate that love through action. And that's true for us as well. We can do things, but we don't always do them out of a place where we already feel loved and accepted and restored into a relationship with God. Sometimes we're doing action out of shame, out of guilt. And that's not what we're invited to at all. We're invited into victory. We're invited into freedom to show other people, to serve other people, to give the same love that we've received through Jesus by serving those that God has entrusted around us. And that's what he invites Peter into. He said, do you love me? Well, then feed my lambs. And he asked him, do you love me? Well, then take care of this flock. Do you love me? Well, then feed my sheep. Jesus is inviting Peter to join in on what Jesus is doing, and he's inviting us into the same thing. He loves you. He is not condemning you. If you found yourself in a place where you're like, I'm not good enough, I've messed up too much, and you have allowed yourself to think rejection and condemnation is what's for you, let me remind you from Scripture that we see the very character of God through his son Jesus, that he's interested in restoration, not rejection. And he's inviting us into action out of love. He has a sweet personal relationship with Peter, and Peter is not so far gone that God does not have this big purpose for his life and what he wants to use him for. And the same is true for you. Do not let the enemy win by thinking that you're too far gone, or you mess up too many times, or you aren't walking intimately with him, when the very thing that would make us want to hide, Jesus is saying, bring it to me. Let's experience intimacy with one another. And then let me show you the purpose that I have for your life. Willowbrook, God has a good plan for you. Would you open up your heart? Let him look at things maybe that you've even hidden from yourself, and then experience his love so that you can walk your life with purpose, the one that he's created you for, and serve others, and let them experience the love that God has for them as well. I love you, and I hope that you'll have a happy Wednesday.